Reason why I thought it would be interesting to look at where we are. Essentially 3 years after that landmark deal, where is this money going and who is actually receiving it? But let's rewind for a moment, because back in July 2020 we had that huge summit in Brussels. The leaders said we will raise 750 billion euros, 390 of which will be delivered in grants, and then the remainder 360 will be disbursed in the form of loans. Having said that, 9 out of the 27 EU nations have not yet received any cash from this pot. According to the European Commission, that's because these nations have not yet requested. And let's not forget that in order to receive this cash, these disbursements, nations have to put together several reforms. Now, I want to show you the two biggest recipients, Italy and Spain. At the time, they were essentially the economies that suffered the most from the pandemic, hence the reason why they're receiving the most from these funds. When you look at Italy, for instance, in terms of grants, they're expected to receive in total almost 70 billion euros. In terms of loans, we're talking about roughly 122 billion euros. So where is Italy at this stage? In terms of grants, we have essentially 28 billion that have been disbursed, and in terms of loans, 38 billion euros. Where is that money going? This is what we can see in this chart. You can see that the biggest chunk is going into cohesion. That involves projects such as patterns for people with disabilities. Sustainable growth involves, for instance, supporting SMEs across the country. But then green transition also takes a big part of these funds. Let's not forget that at least 40% of this money needs to go into the green transition. You can tell that Italy plans to do so. Let's look at Spain, the second biggest recipient of these funds. In total, they're expected to receive almost 70 billion euros in grants. Thus far, however, they have received about 38 billion euros, so a significant amount of cash. Where is that going? Where is Spain intending to put that money? You can see as well that the biggest chunk is also going into these cohesion projects, but then, of course, green transition also playing a critical role here. Now, the reason why I'm telling you all of this is because there's only 3 years left in this program. So that means that all of 27 EU member states have 3 more years to put together, to implement reforms and receive the several disbursements that they have been initially allocated. But let's see how that will go, Jomana. One thing is for sure, this money could be critical for all of the European economies, particularly in the wake, of course, after the Russians' invasion of Ukraine as well.
What's really interesting, Silvia, is that so much of the money still hasn't been tapped yet. There's still a lot of unused potential out of those recovery funds. So it will be interesting to see whether European countries decide to go down that route or just continue as they are. Thank you for bringing us that overview.